Hi guys, Tech James here. In this video I will be installing an LED kit for my PS4 controller, and this was actually sent to me by a company called eXtremeRate. So if you guys would like the look of this and you want to get one, I will leave a link for you guys to buy one in the description of this video. But anyway, let's just get on with the unboxing. So inside of the box is actually a few things. The first things we come across are the instructions. I will be showing you guys how to do it anyway. There's also a large plastic bag filled with screws. I didn't actually use any of these, but they're good if you need them. And then here is the main LED sort of motherboard itself. You can just put that to the side for now. And then it also has all of the tools and the replacement buttons. So we've got some tweezers in here, there's a screwdriver, there's also like a plastic pick that's used for opening the controller, and then of course we have the analog sticks, the D-pad and all the buttons in there as well. So now we can start taking apart our PS4 controller. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take off my rubber analog grips. You might have these on, you might not. Now just turn the controller around, and we actually want to take out the 4 screws on the back, just these 4 right here, and you can use the screwdriver that comes in the kit. So once the screws have been removed, just put them to the side, try not to lose them, even though we have got plenty of replacements. But now we can actually start to take the controller apart. So you should be able to pry it apart. I would probably recommend using the plastic pry tool, because it did actually take me maybe a good 15 minutes to get this thing apart. It's definitely not easy, and my controller was brand new, so I never actually had it taken apart before. So once you've completely taken it apart, it should be in halves just like this. As you can see, my plastic tools are pretty ruined now because they were really hard to take the controller apart. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. But as you can see, there's also 2 small springs that hold L1 and R1, I believe. Make sure you don't lose those. So from here we actually want to disconnect the ribbon cable which is holding the controller together. It will be attached to the motherboard. You can just take it out. Now what we want to do next is actually take out the controller's battery. So the controller will be powered on, obviously, if the battery is always plugged in. So it's just easier just to take it out. Next, there's actually a screw that is holding in the motherboard. We will need to unscrew that and take it out. This is so we can just dismantle the controller even more and then install the LEDs. There's also a small ribbon cable which is holding the touchpad to the controller's motherboard. We will need to take that out. It is a bit hard to pull out. I actually held it from the side and it actually became a lot easier. So next we are free to completely take the motherboard out. I'd recommend just holding it at the sides and pulling it up. It should come loose very easily and just come out like that. Now next we can just replace all the buttons to the transparent ones. So this is very simple. Obviously take off the rubber pads, remove all the buttons, get the new transparent buttons, put them back in, and then put the rubber pads back in. If you wish to clean your PS4 controller, it's probably the best opportunity to do it right now. Now if your touchpad fell out like mine did, there's actually a very easy way to get it back in. So if you just lay the controller down and just gently slide the touchpad underneath the plastic bar, you'll actually be able to get it back in there, and it should just clip in very easily. Now it's time to stick on the LEDs, so just take them out the bag. If it's a mess like mine, don't worry too much because they can be separated very easily. But the first thing you want to do is actually just align your controller, make sure the analog sticks are pulled off, and you just want to straighten out all of the LEDs just so they're in a long line like this. It just makes it easier. And now you want to remove the sticky bit of plastic at the back, and now we can get ready to stick it onto the actual controller's motherboard so the LED lights shine through. So you don't have to be too accurate, maybe just be a bit accurate. Just try and line with the button outlines on the motherboard and you can just place it down. So once the buttons are done, you will need to do exactly the same thing for the D-pad. If you guys are unsure which way around it goes, literally just copy how mine is right now. You will need to put the buttons on first, then the D-pad on next, and then once that is stuck down, you can then stick down both of the analog stick stickers. Now this is actually where I kind of encountered a problem because the analog LEDs just wouldn't really stick to the metal for me. They just kept on coming undone and sticking off, but I managed to hold them down with the analog stick. So if you've got them just stuck on there a bit, if you take the analog stick and just place it on top, you will actually be able to stick them down and they should stay in place. So as you can see, I'm just pushing it on right now. They do tend to come off a bit, but if you just stick it down and then press it on top, you should be alright. So once you've got that done, you will need to get the other half of your PS4 controller because we will need to put this motherboard back into the original case. So pretty much just line up the analog sticks, line up the parts that hold it in as well, and just kind of push it back together. This shouldn't take too long, but once it is together, remember to put that ribbon cable that holds the touchpad to the motherboard. Remember to connect that back up. Also, don't forget to put the motherboard screw back on. This is very important, just so the controller doesn't fall apart while you're trying to put the battery in. So with the battery, you kind of want to connect it in like a long chain. You want to connect the battery to the sensor, just like I have right now, and then that wire which is coming off the sensor, that will be connected into the motherboard. So just be kind of careful like this, they're kind of fragile, make sure you don't break any cables or anything, but just connect that part into the motherboard. Make sure you get it the right way around as well. Right, so once that's connected, the LED lights should actually be working. You can give this a quick test by tapping the sensor and seeing if they change colors. So now it's time just to stick the sensor to the back of the controller. This bit is very fiddly. This took me quite a while just to get it exactly right. But basically hold the back of the controller, lean the other part of the controller forward, and you want to stick the sensor somewhere in the middle of the back of the controller. Obviously you can't stick it exactly in the middle, so I would recommend sticking it to the side. Also, if your reset button fell out, make sure you put that back in as well. You don't want to lose that. It just goes on the motherboard, kind of like at the top of the controller next to the battery. You can actually press it, it just resets the controller. So now I'm going to attempt to stick this at the back. I would recommend kind of getting it where I've got it. Make sure you don't cover any screw holes or anything like that. And just kind of be careful with it. This bit is very fiddly and I have to admit it was very difficult. So there's one thing left to do, and that is plug in the ribbon cable to the motherboard. Just be very careful again and make sure you get it the right way around. As you can see how I've got it, make sure it's that way. And now you can close up the controller, put it back together and put some screws in. So this is actually kind of difficult. It was actually a bit more difficult than I expected. This did actually take me quite a long time to do, maybe above like an hour or something like that. So it does look really cool when the product is finished. I would say you'd probably need to be pretty good at fixing phones and using really small tools and small screws and stuff. And you have to be very delicate because this can be broken very easily. Also guys, before I forget, to power off the LED lights, you actually had to hold it until it powers off like that. So just hold the touchpad at the back until the controller goes black and then turn itself off. So that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want to buy one of these from eXtremeRate, make sure to check out their Amazon links in the description. There will be one for the UK and the US, and I'm sure they sell them in many other countries as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.